Good morning, Dan and Amy. And how good was Trump's address to Congress, or really to you through Congress last night? You just heard at the top Van Jones, Obama suck toy Van Jones, complimenting Trump, calling that moment where he recognized the widow of Ryan Owens one of the most powerful moments in American history with respect to presidential addresses.
I think President Trump changed people's opinions last night about how he is as a man and how he will be as a leader.
Yeah, there was definitely expectations exceeded last night, and he had Democrats bum rushing the exits as soon as he finished, because I don't think they got the Donald Trump they expected, and I think they now understand that this is really game on, that their whole kind of resistance and offering aid and comfort to the hysterical pea-hat wearing pants droppers is not going to be the path to derailing Donald Trump or GOP Congress. And the other thing he did is inspire confidence among rank-and-file members of both the House and Senate Republican caucuses that this is a leader, this is a sensible person, this is a guy serious about moving a legislative agenda and understands he needs to have a sense of urgency about getting big things done before the August recess. Some of those big things he spoke about last night, including Obamacare.
Mandating every American to buy government-approved health insurance was never the right solution for our country.
And now, joining us to talk about some of what those right solutions for our country are is Heritage Foundation Chief Economist Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. By the way, I was on CNN last night with Van Jones when he made that remarkable statement that this was one of the great speeches, and that his point was, and I think he's right, that Democrats who thought they were dealing with a kind of political weakling here now know that this is a guy who is up to the challenge. That surprised me the most about the speech was that Democrats and liberals were so surprised by it. I mean, Donald Trump has many flaws. There's no question about it. Amy, you and I have talked about many of them, but he is a great communicator. There's no doubt. I mean, I saw him give dozens and dozens of speeches, firsthand, and this guy always knocks, not always, but often knocks them out of the park like he did last night. So it was a game changer. It was a virtuoso performance. His approval rating will go up, but that will make it easier now for him to get some of his legislative goals done. Most specifically, I mean, what I said on CNN last night is he has to do two things. He's got to get Obamacare repealed. We've got to get a more sensible health insurance replacement. And number two, he's got to get this tax cut done.
And on the second matter, the tax cut, are you still clinging to your border adjustment tax, or is that going to be left on the cutting room floor so we can cut structural rates post haste?
Okay, so Dan, I want to just correct you here, because here's my position on the border adjustment tax. I believe it would be a good thing to do economically. I never could understand, and if you disagree with me, Dan, you're going to have to explain why you disagree with me. But I could never understand, I've been covering tax policy for 30 years, why it made sense for the United States of America to tax everything we export, but not to tax what we import. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. We should tax where things are consumed, not where they're produced. Every other country does this. Trump made that point last night. So I think economically, sure, it would really help the United States if we had a border adjustable tax, so we're taxing the imports, not the exports. We shouldn't tax what's made by Americans. We should tax what's made by foreigners. But on the politics, I just wrote a piece in Politico this week saying, look, this is going nowhere. Walmart's going to spend $100 million trying to defeat this. The business community is totally divided because the retailers hate this idea. The manufacturers love it. So as a matter of politics, I think Republicans should drop this tax altogether, and they should basically move towards just cutting the tax rate for all corporations and small businesses, get it down to 20%. Now, do you disagree with that, Dan?
Okay, yes, Dan, please.
Do I disagree with the border adjustment tax? I do, yes, because I don't. I mean, it's the same idea of a tariff. It's kind of a backdoor tariff. Look at things.
No. I'm going to correct you here.
Let me finish my point. If you believe, as Bastiat said, that you should look at all economics through the eye of the consumer, then why would you want to do anything that increase the costs to the consumer? And so
Okay, I will answer your
that's what
question.
this does.
What is a better tax system for the state of Illinois, to tax consumption or tax income?
Well, I always prefer consumption over work, taxing
Of
consumption
course,
over
that's
work.
what we're doing here. We're changing America's business tax to a consumption-based tax from a production-based tax. I mean, I've always been in favor of a national retail sales tax to completely replace the income tax. If you did that, you'd be taxing people on what they consume, not American businesses on what they produce. I mean, look, I want more jobs for Americans, and you got to explain to me, and I'm just not saying you, but all the people are against the border tax, why it is that we tax the American company here in, whether it's in Chicago or in Detroit or California, wherever, but we don't tax the stuff that's brought into the United States. I mean, it's just never made any sense to me. But politically speaking, it's just hard to get from here to there, and that's why I say, and Larry Kudlow, my buddy, has said this too, let's just cut the business tax rate for every one of the 28 million businesses in this country. I think most Americans can connect to that. If you cut taxes for businesses and cut regulations so their costs come down, guess what? They can make more profits, they can hire more people, and they can pay them more.
By the way, just quickly, what's Larry Kudlow giving up for Lent? Because I will give up whatever he's giving up for Lent.
Okay.
Do you know?
I think I may even have Amy on this one. Amy, where do you stand on this debate?
Well, I wanted to ask you about tax credits to help the poor buy insurance when it comes to revamping Obamacare. And can I call it Trump Care yet, or what are we just going to call this? Affordable Care Act? What are we calling it?
I think that, basically Trump was a little vague, actually, last night about what he's planning on the tax front. He just said cut tax for businesses and cut taxes for families, but he wasn't specific about it. My point is, and I know I've been saying this for the last 3 weeks on the show, but I'm going to say it again. Don't wait. Do this right away. Let's get this thing done. Let's get this tax cut approved as quickly as possible. It's going to be a big boom for the economy. By the way, the stock market, I believe the futures are up this morning. The Wall Street really liked that speech last night because they understand it's good for business.
Well, the Dow's been up 24 points since his election, and Trump said, I don't know if you saw his interview with Fox and Friends, but he vowed that the GDP is going to be 1% to 3%. When is that going to happen, and how do you think that's going to happen?
Sorry, what's going to happen?
The GDP is going to be 1% to 3%. Donald Trump promised that to Fox and Friends.
I've said this, this, guys. I mean, I've said it on your show for the last year. If we adopt the Trump plan, we get 4% growth. Write this down. Are you guys writing this down? 4% growth for 5 years. We're going to see one of the big booms in this country. There's so much low-hanging fruit out there. And I'm sick of these economists, these liberal, and even some of my Republican guys. Oh, you can't get growth up by more than 3%. It's impossible. Yes, we can. We did it under JFK in the 60s. We did it under Reagan in the 80s. We had 4, 5, 6% growth. Tell me why the economy can't grow faster if we get the right policies in place. I'm sick of these low expectations. 4% growth. I'm sick of it. 4, not 2.
Okay.
I like your aggressive posture. Let me ask you something else. Trump touched on this yesterday, but was not. I mean, he covered so much ground. Things are inevitably going to get lost. But something that Bannon said at CPAC, that Trump has said previously, that he's advanced executive orders in furtherance of, which is to defang the administrative state. This is an underappreciated part of what is necessary for growth. And so I just want you to address, cutting the budget at EPA, no new regulations, 2 regulations gone for every new regulation, and the focus on attacking that unelected fourth branch of government, the bureaucracy.
Yeah, and the unconstitutional fourth branch of government, because when I check my Constitution, there's only 3 branches of government. Regulations are perhaps an even bigger strangling effect on the American economy than taxes right now. When I was on the Trump Leadership Council with a lot of the major CEOs of America, they told Donald Trump, the taxes are really bad, they're hurting, but the regulations are even worse. So we saw, by the way, one of the regulations being repealed last week were these regulations on the coal industry. Many of them are going to go away, and I believe we can revive our coal industry in this country, and that would be a wonderful thing to see. Let's put tens of thousands of coal miners back in their jobs. I mean, my goodness, Illinois is a coal-producing state. But I love this. 2 regulatory repeals for every one new regulation. If you extrapolate that out, Dan, over 10 years, that means there'll be like 4 regulations left in Washington.
Yeah, I know. I like that math. He is, and by the way, on the coal, I mean, I love the fact that
stand-up Manchin.
Yeah, that brought Manchin to his feet. He better get up because he's facing
Yeah.
elimination, like the coal industry was under President Obama. All right, Steve Moore. He is the chief economist of the Heritage Foundation and a great free market thinker, even though we disagree on the border adjustment tax. Steve Moore, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Agreed a long time. All right, have a great week, guys.
Thanks.
You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.